You're at dinner. Someone laughs and says, "Wait, you're not on Instagram?" There's a pause, a look, like you just admitted you don't own a phone, or worse, that you don't exist. Sometimes they tease you. Are you hiding from the world? Don't you want to stay connected? And you smile, you shrug, but inside you feel that familiar distance. Because the truth is, you're not hiding. You just don't like noise. In a culture where visibility equals value, choosing to not broadcast yourself can look suspicious. People assume you're antisocial, outdated, detached. But what if your absence isn't avoidance? What if it's discernment? Psychologically, not everyone is wired for constant social stimulation. Some people have a more sensitive nervous system. Research on sensory processing shows that certain individuals take in more information, more deeply, more facial cues, more emotional tone, more subtle shifts in conversation. For you, scrolling isn't light entertainment, it's input. Hundreds of voices, hundreds of lives, all at once. And your mind doesn't skim, it absorbs. So after 10 minutes, you don't feel updated, you feel full, like a battery that drains instead of charges. There's also something quieter happening. According to self-determination theory, humans need autonomy, a sense that their choices are truly their own. But social media runs on subtle pressure. Post this, react to that, keep up, stay visible. It's not always loud, but it's constant. And for someone who values internal alignment, that pressure feels like wearing a mask for hours, even if the mask is smiling. You've probably noticed this. When you step away from social platforms, your thoughts sound more like you. Less comparison, less performance, more clarity. That's not coincidence. It's cognitive space. Your brain has limited attentional bandwidth. When it's not split between notifications and self-presentation, it can go deeper into reflection, into creativity, into real conversations that don't disappear in 24 hours. Here's the part most people misunderstand. They think social media equals connection, but psychologically, connection isn't about quantity, it's about attunement. Eye contact, shared silence, being known slowly. Some studies suggest that heavy passive scrolling is linked to increased loneliness, not because people are weak, but because comparison disrupts belonging. You've sensed that instinctively. You'd rather have 3 real conversations than 300 light interactions. That doesn't make you disconnected, it makes you selective. But let's be honest for a moment. There is an unhealthy version of this. If you avoid social media because you're afraid of being seen, afraid of judgment, afraid your life doesn't measure up, then the platform isn't the problem, the fear is. Choosing depth is healthy, hiding from vulnerability is not. Only you know which one it is. Still, for many of you, this choice isn't about fear, it's about regulation. Your nervous system feels safer with fewer inputs. Your identity feels steadier when it isn't constantly mirrored back by metrics. Likes, views, followers. You don't want your worth quantified, you want it lived. And here's the contrarian truth no one says out loud. In a world obsessed with visibility, privacy can be power. Not because you're superior, but because you're anchored. You're not outsourcing your sense of self to an algorithm, you're building it quietly, offline, in real time. You may miss trends, you may miss updates, but you don't miss yourself, and that matters. If you've ever felt misunderstood for not being online, maybe you're not behind. Maybe you're just oriented differently, toward depth instead of display, toward presence instead of performance. So tonight, I want to ask you something gently. When you step away from social media, do you feel smaller or more like yourself? In the next video, we're going to explore a deeper psychological truth about people who protect their inner world and why society often labels them wrong before it understands them.